Hello, Year 9. The purpose of this assembly is we're going to talk you through some of the new subjects that you might be able to take at Key Stage 4 if you would like. I've got Mr. Fraser, Mrs. Underwood, and Miss Samuels who are going to talk to you about business, economics, health and social care, and media in that order. First up is Mr. Fraser.
Hi there. I've been at Netherhall now 14 years, and we run a very good department with both business and economics. And I would say that the most common question that I get is, what is the difference between the two subjects? So could I have the first slide for business, Mr. Hunter? Right. Why should you choose business? Well, the fact of the matter is that in today's economy, business as a course helps underpin a load of other subjects. Quite often when I have students who are the doer students, these are the people who enjoy subjects such as art or photography or media studies or PE or DT or health and social care or any of the subjects where you want to do the thing. Quite often those people want to keep on doing that thing, and they want to work out how to make a living at doing that thing. Business can be very helpful in that case because it's very likely that you might end up working at a business doing that subject that you love, or you may want to start your own. There are those students out there who want to be an entrepreneur, who just want to start their own business, and this course takes us through that whole process of starting a business and then growing it. Could I have the next slide, please, Mr. Hunter? So this is an example of a job that doesn't even exist yet. Well, this person's researching and developing this, but the idea of becoming a drone pilot as an actual job does have potential in the future. Loads of jobs that will be available in the future don't even exist yet, and therefore GCSE Business helps kind of prepare you with underlying skills that can be applied in a wide range of industries, and that's going to be quite important because, quite frankly, you'll go off and get jobs that I won't even know exist and that you won't even know exist yet in the near future, doing all kinds of amazing things, but still requiring those underlying skills that you get from GCSE, things about teamwork, things about leadership. You can see all of the words that are there on the screen. So next slide, please, Mr. Hunter. Therefore, the whole idea is, what is the process for coming up with this new idea? How does a business get started? If somebody is stuck in a traffic queue and they have a light bulb moment, how do you take that inspiration and actually go from just someone with a good idea to somebody who's starting a business? And then how does that business eventually set enough targets and succeed to a level where it can grow into a larger and larger and larger business? And so that is how the course is structured. It goes from just the initial idea straight through to becoming a large business. Next slide, please, Mr. Hunter. So how is it assessed? Each business exam is an hour and a half long at the end of year 11. And they are both worth 50% of the course. Quite often they're based on kind of mini case studies where there'll be a story of a business and it has certain issues or problems, and it is up to you to figure out or recommend solutions to those problems. This is very much a course where we look at real life examples through the 2-year experience so that you can see that actually the case studies that are involved are quite often, they're not necessarily real companies themselves, but they're quite often based on real companies that are out there. Final slide, please, if you would, Mr. Hunter. Therefore, the whole idea is that, are you suitable for business? You may be somebody who would like to work as part of a team and you would like to work within a business. You may be somebody who's saying to yourself, I want to go off and do an apprenticeship following this. And I have already got an idea of what I want to do. And therefore, business is going to be one of those courses to underpin whatever it is you choose to do. On the other hand, we could have students, and we have had students who go off to start their own businesses and drive past me on the road to work in very, very nice cars and wave and say, hi, Mr. Fraser, look at me now. All right. I'm happy to continue on with economics, Mr. Hunter, if that's okay. Right. So then we come to this idea of economics, and this is where I hope the difference between the two subjects comes into a little bit more clarity. So why bother learning about how the world works? And if you could go to the next slide, Mr. Hunter. Economics quite often is about looking at society as a whole. So if you're in business, it's about how to run that particular business. That's what the business course is about. Economics is a much broader course. It's all about how society works, to make choices within society about the resources that we use in order to try and improve kind of living standards of consumers and firms and the government, and just try to get society itself to move forward in a way that improves living standards for all of us. And what is the cost of that, and why people have different disagreements about what should be produced, how the money in our society should be spent, but on a much larger scale than business. If you're somebody who likes geography, if you're someone who likes history, if you're somebody who likes RE, you're probably somebody who likes science. You're someone who likes to think about how the world works, and how systems within the world, how they work. And this is one way of looking at how the world works. It very much goes as a good complement to courses like those I've just mentioned. And then when pursuing it into A level, if that is your choice, then you would also look to complement it with things like how the government works, or psychology, or sociology, or criminology. These are all issues around how our society works, and what people and how we interact with each other and with businesses and with the government in order to kind of make it all run. And that's why economics is considered a little bit more of a broader course. Next slide, please, Mr. Hunter. So the course is again structured where it's 50% of exam material from year 10, and then 50% exam material from year 2. And you can see there on the, I believe the left-hand side of your screen, that basically the course starts in year 10 with a much, it's a little bit focused on how does pricing actually work, how, what do businesses have to do to set those prices in terms of covering their own costs and trying to make a profit. But we're not looking at any one business in particular. We're looking at generally businesses and how they interact with consumers overall. Paper 2 is much more about the government and how the government tries to manage the economy. And right now in the middle of the COVID crisis, one aspect of that is massively economical in terms of how the government is spending money to keep people furloughed, or whether there's going to be rising unemployment, and what the government will have to do about that to try and, again, keep those living standards once the crisis has passed. Next slide, please, Mr. Hunter. So again, those two exams will cover 50% of the course each. They're an hour and 45 minutes, whereas the exams in business are an hour and a half each. And again, you can see there's a mix of style of questions, multiple choice, short answer, and extended response questions. But just to be aware that yes, both business and economics entirely covered by exams, 2 exams in each course, both 50% of each course. Final slide, I believe, Mr. Hunter. And that's generally just an overview of kind of issues facing our society and how economics can be brought into trying to deal with these problems. What's happening when we're overfishing in the seas, and how can we promote solutions to that to have jobs that are sustainable and make sure that we're not sacrificing the environment in the future? What can we do about people who are out of work, who need work and need an income to provide for their families? And finally, the idea of absolute poverty, people who are living on still on less than $2 US a day. How can we raise those living standards so that there's an improvement all around? I hope that clarifies things. That is my final slide, I believe.
Thank you very much, Mr. Fraser. And now we're going to move on to Mrs. Underwood, who's going to talk to us about health and social care.
Thank you, Mr. Hunter.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Okay, so if you have a look at the first slide on the screen today, you'll see that there are a wide range of pictures there that show a lot of different aspects to health and social care. You can see that there are people who are looking at health, you've got people who are working with children, you have got people who are caring. So that basically gives you an overview of sort of the job areas where you might expect to find somebody who has studied health and social care. It is all about people who want to be caring and working with individuals in some sort of caring role. Now, the title is a little bit misleading because although we do look at health, it isn't looking at how we might do first aid or deal with particular medical conditions as such. It is about how an individual will develop over the course of their life and issues that might affect them. So could I have the next slide, please, Mr. Hunter? Thank you. So the course is a BTEC course. Now, for some of you, that might be a course that is a new title to you. It may be something you are not aware of. Now, a BTEC does not run like a normal GCSE. It is based more around coursework with an exam as well. Now, the coursework is based around real life scenarios. It links to the world of work and it looks at different job roles. It looks at different aspects of health and social care, and you are expected to apply your knowledge as you build it as we go through the course. Now, a BTEC is marked in a different way. It is marked by pass, merit and distinction. So you will see that you don't get the grades 1 to 9 as you would normally do. Now, the course is structured in 3 components. We do one of them in year 10, which is component 1, all about human lifespan development. And in that one, we focus on exactly what it says, how a human develops. So we look at from when someone is a baby to how they live through their life to being an older adult and the end of their lifespan. We look at how they develop physically, so the changes that take place and why they take place. We look at intellectual development, so how things that will affect their learning, how they develop things like their self-concept, how they understand things like numbers, language, etc. We look at emotional development and how that affects them, whether it's through adolescence and as you go through puberty and how your life changes there, and also things to do with social development and building relationships. Now, each of those lifespans, age ranges that we look at will have an impact on how someone's life develops. And we look at different factors that affect that, such as jobs, such as different relationships, such as economic factors. So it covers a wide range of aspects. In year 11, we do 2 units of work. The first one being component 3, which is our exam unit. And you'll see on the screen there that the exam unit, we actually sit in the January of year 11. Now, you might think that's a bit mad, but actually there are benefits to that. And the benefit is that 1, it's out of the way. So you've done it when the pressure is on in the summer term and you've got all your other exams. But it also means should you not do as well, which isn't usually the case, you do have an opportunity to resit that exam. So it's a win-win situation, I think. The health and wellbeing unit is all about having a case study, and you look at an individual person and you are expected to give them suggestions about how you might improve their health. You look at health indicators such as things like blood pressure, BMI, etc. And you look at ways in which you can suggest for that person to have their health improved. Obviously, you do a lot of study beforehand to look at ways in which you can do that so that you are fully prepared. Component 2, the final one, is all about looking at services, and that links more to the idea of job roles and how different job roles within the professions can help to support individuals and help them to be living the best life possible. Could I have the 3rd slide, please, Mr. Hunter? Thank you. Okay, so you'll see on the screen there a lot of different words. Now, they are all things that are topics that we cover, things that we look at over the course of the 2 years. So you'll see things like looking about childhood, looking at health indicators, looking at barriers. All of those different things are things that we will cover. Now, where does this lead to? Well, these subjects and these topics are very cross-curricular. You'll see links with science, you'll see links with business, there are links with PE. It is a subject that actually has lots of elements of a range of different subjects. And should you go on to study this further at level 3 in the sixth form, you will see that that has a good progression to opportunities such as going into apprenticeships, going on to university, and taking on roles such as we've had people that go and do midwifery. We have people who are go and do physiotherapy. We have people who become sociologists or psychologists. So it's a very, very broad subject. Could I have the final slide, please, Mr. Hunter? Thank you. So just to finish off there is a quote there that talks about the amount of people who actually work within this job sector. So currently there are 3 million plus people who work in health and social care, and it accounts for nearly 1 in 10 of all the jobs in the UK. So you can see when you look at the news today that there are, you know, it is a very, very topical area. There are lots and lots of people who are in that industry, and there is always going to be a need for people to follow on in such job roles. So it's an interesting course. It's all about people. If you are someone who has got that caring side, you want to work with people in some shape or form in that caring role, then this subject may be for you. So I hope you're interested and you want to find out more, and hopefully we can catch up and have a chat at a later date. Thank you, Mr. Hunter. That's all from me.
Thank you very much, Miss Sunwood. And last, but by no means least, is Miss Samuels. Miss Samuels, over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Hunter. So media, creative media, BTEC, very similar to the health and social, is a BTEC course, and it is graded with a pass merit distinction. How the creative media BTEC does work, though, is we have 2 coursework units and 1 practical exam. The practical exam allows you to be just that. Rather than lots of writing and answering essay questions, we look at a client brief and we create a product from that. So the exam is slightly longer than your normal exams. We have 2 days to do that over the course itself, and it allows you to really express yourself. But before I get into that, you're probably sitting there going, well, what is media? I hear fake news. I hear the media are to blame all the time when we're looking at coronavirus, the government, law, and politics. But actually, media is so much more than that. Media is all around us in the world, and it might be what we gain information from and education from. It might be how you do get your news, but it also might be how you relax in the evening, how you communicate, how you persuade someone to see your point of view. So media counts as the following. It could be something you watch on Netflix, a film at the cinema. It could be a digital game that you play. It could be a magazine that you or your parents read. It could be a radio show or a podcast. It could be photography that comes to life, or animation. There is so much to do with media that actually affects the world around us. Now, if you are already keen to know how to progress a future in business or health and social, or in law, politics or sociology, media can help you along these ways as well, because media explores both the audiences and the institutions. We look at the law and the ethics behind media, as well as creating and analysing those products. Next slide, please, Mr. Hunter. So the course itself will allow you to look at various different media products, but also experience lots of hands-on workshops on how to create them. You will be given the Adobe package to use both at home and at school, which allows you to play and learn and build skills that professional media producers use, such as Adobe Photoshop, Illustrator, Adobe Spark, Audition, Dreamweaver to make websites, and much more. We also allow you access to use cameras, microphones, and media equipment that you would usually use in a professional standard. Whether you want to be the next Steven Spielberg and make a film, or perhaps you are an upcoming artist and you really want to be a musician, this will give you the skills to plan, create, and then evaluate the media products that are all around you, from music video to beyond. We research lots of products and we look at the law and ethics when things can go wrong. We also look at how to build your skills. So if you're interested in photography or the meaning and the composition of shots, or even drama, this would work really nicely alongside that. The whole course is about building a portfolio of work, which you can then use to show off your skills when you go off to sixth form college, or can just be really proud of the fantastic work you've created. My year 10s currently have made film posters, magazine covers, they've planned a music video, and they are learning lots of skills along the way, which they can then use into adult life. So if you like a creative course, but you also like looking at the behind the scenes of things, then media definitely is the course for you, especially as it is very practical, hands-on, and gives you great skills for the future. I hope you're interested. And if you've got any questions, please feel free to come and find me. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Hunter.
Okay, everybody, hopefully that's given you some ideas. After school next week, so from 3 p.m. Next week, the 1st to the 5th of February, there will be some drop-in sessions for each of these subjects: business, economics, health and social, and media, where you can talk to the teachers you've just heard from and find out if it's the right course for you. Those drop-in sessions will be conducted by Zoom, and links to them will be circulated along with this video. I hope you have a lovely week, and I hope you're able to access at least one of those drop-in sessions if one of the sessions interests you. Thank you and goodbye.